everybody, to an episode of In the Gutters, the comic book podcast show. This is Turk182
and Wallcrawler One.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you all for joining us again for another episode. And if this is your very first episode, please check out some of the others. We have some really good ones. Apparently, everyone likes our She-Hulk episode, which I can't blame them because She-Hulk is kind of awesome. On today's episode, I asked you, because we were kind of talking just about different things, and I asked you, what's the deal with, Doc Ock? What's the deal with Doc Ock?
What's the deal with Doc Ock?
Yeah, what's the deal? It's he calls himself Doc Ock. He says he's got 8 arms. Really, he's only got 6 arms and 2 legs. He should be almost Doc Ock. And I mean, I know it's comic books and stuff, so, it's to be forgiven that a man whose name is Otto Octavius just happens to get 4 additional arms, hey, I'll call myself Doc Ock, then it's that works out well. So I mean, just Blade just happens to become a vampire hunter and a master swordsman, and and his name just happens to be Blade.
It's like you were born or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I know his name's not really Blade. His name is Eric something,
yeah.
But his name isn't really Blade. But really, what is his deal? So we know that, he never, I don't want to say he never, but he felt underappreciated as a professor. And then, when he realized that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, he didn't like the idea that Spider-Man was smarter than him. But on top of it all, the Spider-Man was this teenage punk that was in his science class, which you have to think about. Spider-Man was in Doc Ock's or Peter Parker was in Doc Ock's class in college, and he turned out to be a villain. Then he happened to be in the Lizards class, and he turned out to be a villain. Kind of thinking maybe some of this might be your fault.
Yeah,
just a little bit there. Or
just right place, right time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can see that. So that's all ego, right? That's all ego. But then ultimately, what does he want? He doesn't want to rule the world. He wants people to acknowledge how smart he is, but you don't get that by what you're doing. Your plan shows just really kind of how smart you aren't, or he's got a lot of intellect and knowledge about science, but as far as being a super villain genius,
he doesn't really want to take over the world. He doesn't really want money.
Right. He's
just out there being an a-hole for a-hole's sake, or maybe he wanted to get paid for. I mean, but it doesn't seem like it's more than that. He really, at the end of the day, just wants to prove that he's better than Spider-Man. I guess it's very bizarre. And it makes sense that Superior Spider-Man,
yeah,
because he's finally. I'm superior in every way because I'm better than you could ever have done.
Right.
So
but then he finds that it's well, yeah, but to be Spider-Man, I
can't be me.
Right. Which I gotta say, the Superior Spider-Man, I think it's kind of wrong of the heroes, because I know that there was some questions, but I think it's kind of wrong of the heroes to see Spider-Man acting completely out of character, and outside of asking him a couple of questions, they're no, okay, he's good. No, this is not Spider-Man doesn't say that kind of stuff. We're hey, screw you, I don't need your help. It's hey, kiss my ass, Captain America. But I don't remember Spider-Man ever saying kiss your ass, Captain America before. But they're nah, it's fine. It's it's good. He's still Spider-Man.
I guess some of the guys that don't make sense to me, and probably because I haven't read them, and I'm going to admit, so my I'm claiming ignorance on this, but I like the character Tiger Shark. But what the hell? What's his deal? He's he's not trying to save the environment or anything. It's what are you trying to get? Treasure, sunken treasure? I mean, what?
Yeah.
What is your? Yeah, I've been in the water and I got. Rawr.
I mean, you can stop Tiger Shark real easy by being okay, all right, Tiger Shark, you win. We're gonna give you Utah. You're gonna own Utah. You'll be the president of Utah. But yeah, but that's It's like so far away from the ocean.
Yeah, that's the point.
Like,
you can create your own ocean in Utah somewhere, like in like your upper headquarters somewhere. Yeah, that's weird.
Right? It's like wait. So you got to turn us down? Like, you were the first villain that actually got what you wanted, and you're going to turn us down?
You can be beside the data collection center. You know, it's like you could just build a little pool. You could just circle around it, like make it like a moat, so the extremists can't get us. Oh, jeez. Be
like, okay, if I'm going to let you know right now, if you pass on this deal, then we're going to offer this to Orca. So just letting you know right now.
And I swear, dude, Orca was going to be my next one. Because I was thinking, what the hell's Orca's deal? What's the deal with Orca? Yeah, he's not trying to, they're not environmentalists. They're not trying to save anything. They're just there to fight. Nobody else is taking on Namor right now. Let's
You know what it is?
A tumor. I'm not a tumor.
Orca's whole deal is just to prove that, like, fish people can be assholes too. Right? That's it. That's his whole thing. It's like, I hate to tell you this, man, but you won like 20 issues ago, man. you proved your point, man. Here's your master's degree in, like, being a fish asshole.
Yeah, like I mean, Doom to a certain degree, like he's gotten what he's wanted.
Yeah.
And he didn't. Now what's he do?
Well, I guess he didn't get it to the degree that he wanted. So
he did, because like in Secret Wars, he was there. He had everything, but he's like, that's a lot of work.
It wasn't the full world. He didn't have the whole world. He had like this little like land that he had.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
He had to put everybody else in charge of other places, and then he had the Thor Corps. You know,
I was reading Doctor Doom. He had a miniseries because like he's got a Herald right now, which is really weird. And like he did another thing where he's trying to take the powers of Galactus or whatever. But anyway, he got a Herald and he got kicked out of Latveria. And I stopped reading it around issue 6 or so.
How did he get kicked out of Latveria?
He was framed because like they were doing something on the moon where it was gonna get destroyed, and like they were blaming him for it, and like it's really obscure, man. That's like I'm not. But basically, like the reason I can't finish and tell you exactly because I was behind because I dropped it because like this is ridiculous. It's not very good. Christopher Cantwell was writing it. I was liking it at first, and I was like no. But then, like, I dropped it at issue 6, but I just bought 7 through 10, and that's where it ends. And last issue, he's there. It looks like he's back in Latveria, so he's ruling it. And I don't know how that happened, so I got to read it. But like, that seems like his. I think he's pretty much got what he's gonna get. He's got Latveria. He should just be happy with that. I mean, they seem to like him.
Yeah.
Just go with it, man. Just let it go.
You know, okay, so here's the thing. Like, what asshole decides he's going to blow up the moon? I mean, do you realize that's just going to destroy the Earth, right? Like,
yeah.
You blow up the moon, you destroy the Earth. Like,
well, that's the danger of it. Like, that's because they basically, like, it was something to do with time. Kane got involved. That always gets complicated.
Right.
And that's why I kind of was like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. They brought in the Blue Marvel. I was like, Jesus, what are you doing? But one thing that was kind of cool is they had a full size like a Herbie, like where he was kind of like actually like a moving robot where he could actually like punch things and stuff. That was kind of cool. That was kind of neat. But I'm gonna go back. I just bought the issues and I got to reread them. I got to read 7 through 10 because I wasn't gonna read it, but I was like, well, if it ended at 10, that's not too big of a commitment, and I can just see how it ends. But yeah, what is Doom's deal now? I mean, he really, besides defeating the Fantastic Four, I mean that's the thing. A hero creates its own.
Yep.
Adversary. That's pretty much what it is.
I think you know, as now it's one of those things where because he has this long feud against Reed Richards, like as Reed continues to do great things, he's like, yeah, no, I've still got to one up you in that because no matter what you do, I still have to be better than you, and because the reason that my face is all burned up, it's all your fault. Remember how you gave me that little tiny ass scar? Well, see.
Well, and here's the thing, man. What about Lex Luthor? What's his? He's got everything, man. He pretty much rules the city. He's like you've talked about that. You made a good point about him in the past, where he's underappreciated.
Right.
You look at how much he does for Metropolis, and you're right about that. And then Superman gets all the credit. So it's a pain in his ass, and so it makes sense. What's Lex Luthor's goal? Superman. What's Joker's goal? Batman. I mean, that's what they live for. That's literally, and they couldn't kill them because what would they be without them? It's interesting.
So what Luthor should do, but of course he won't because he is as much Metropolis as Metropolis is him.
Yeah.
But what he should do is like leave.
Yeah.
And go to like some other place and start building that up, and then watch Metropolis start to fall apart without him.
Well,
and then be like, oh, you guys need me. Superman's not there to kind of make sure that your businesses run well and that you guys are making money and stuff.
I don't want to make this one about my storylines, and I don't want to give it away completely, but I kind of did have an idea about Lex going to Gotham,
Yeah,
and what that would do.
See, I think if he went to Bloodhaven. Because
cool
Bloodhaven was like
too.
right there next to it,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, look at what Gotham could be with the right, with the right leadership.
Yeah, Gotham's got a bad rep, and then like that, have your little crappy town or city Batman.
So I want to bring up two things. One is I love this because this is like a retort that I use that kind of fits not everything, but fits a lot of situations. Which is it's from the first Batman movie where Jack Napier goes, "People shouldn't live in Gotham City. They'd be happier someplace else."
Yeah,
I mean, like that's such a great line. Not a specific group of people, just people in general.
It is not a good place for people. It's like, and it's all tied to the Wayne family, and it's a tight little story. Like let's see, another villain that we could bring up. Who's another?
I was going to say one other thing is like, and maybe they've mentioned this, and I just have never heard anyone really bring it out before. But Crime Alley.
Yeah,
I may told us this once before. Crime Alley wasn't called Crime Alley
until
the Waynes were killed.
They were killed.
Nobody ever mentions that as like like why would they walk down Crime Alley? Well, it wasn't Crime Alley then. It was
bustling. That was the turning point. That's why I was saying the Wayne's family is so tied to. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree 100%. It's like when Crime Alley was created, Batman was created. Yeah. That's just kind of cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. It's like, because you always think about it, the Waynes did, but it was also like when that happened, like when they were killed, it was like the city started to turn, and then it needed a protector. It kind of reminds me of the ending of No Country for Old Men, when he talked about the dream. And the way I've always interpreted it is that in the dream, it's he's like, here's a world for those of you that haven't seen it. I'm trying not to spoil anything for you. It's a really good movie.
It's one of my favorites.
But like, here's a world where before I lived in a world where if someone did something bad, then as a sheriff, I would catch them and they'd be punished. But now, like, we're going into this new age because it was like the end of 1970s and the start of the 1980s. But now we're going into a new world where bad guys don't get caught. They could get away. Crimes could go unpunished, and that's not a world that I want to live in as a sheriff anymore. I don't want to be that guy that has to live with these unsolved crimes, with these horrendous things that are going unpunished. And it's like, and I'm too old. Like this particular world has kind of like outgrown me now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, we don't live a very long time. I mean, if you're lucky, you're going to get, especially guys. I mean, we were lucky if you're in your 80s, you've achieved a miracle.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we really have 70s, 80s, 90s. I mean, you can live to 100, but like your quality of life is probably not going to be. But basically, like, it doesn't seem like a long time. But look how much shit's changed just in the time we've been here. By the time we actually are going to pass, I don't even know we're going to. And you do feel like the world's kind of. I mean, look at comics in general. Look where we were when we were growing up, where comics were, and look at where they are now.
Yeah,
it's just the world. It almost feels like you've become a dinosaur in your own time. And No Country for Old Men. I love the Coen brothers, and I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the show before because we mainly talk about comics, but Anton Suga is one of the best villains of all freaking time, and one of the scenes that creeps me out. It's not even the air gun or anything. One of the creepiest things I've ever seen in a movie was where he confronts the girl at the end, and then he's walking out of the house and he wipes his boots off because that he's stomped her. It's like he's done something to her really, really bad, and it's just so casual. And then like he does, you think, oh, he's gonna get his justification, he's gonna get his moment. And he still gets away.
Yep.
And it's just it's so real.
And the thing is, he's such an evil person, even though this is not about him, but he's such an evil person because she says, you don't have to do this. And he's like, Yeah, of course I do. And it's like, but no, you really don't. You don't have to do it. And he's like, yeah, I do. And he's like, flip it. She's like, no, I'm not going to play your game. And it's like, and that pisses him off because now he can't. It's like whatever he does, he has to take responsibility for that. It's like, I'm the one that did it. It wasn't the coin that did it. It wasn't fate. It was me.
And the thing is, I was going to say, he's almost like Two-Face,
Yeah.
Because he's got the coin thing, but the Two-Face has got the one side. But it's both marked. But what it is like, he I guess we're talking about villains and their motivation. Characters like him don't need motivation. They're just pure evil.
Right.
And it's like they like, what is their deal? They don't have one. They just do what they do.
And it's like when they're having that meeting in the office and everything, and it's like, yeah, this guy is like, you want to see how this guy's with, like, you've never seen someone like this. You've never dealt with anybody like this before. But I mean, and like the thing is, like from the very beginning, this is turning into like a Coen Brothers like episode. But
I was going to start going to talk about Fargo next because Lord Malvo, it's just poison in the water, man. All it takes is that one little and it just boom, it permeates everything. But
it's like the thing with Anton is that, like, he enjoys what he does, even though you don't see that he gets any enjoyment out of it. But there's something miswired about him, and you see it from the very first encounter when the guy's just making small talk and he won't let it go. And he's like, well, I should probably be closing up now. He's like, really, what time do you close? Now's not a time. Like, I mean, like, he won't let it go. And like, there's nothing this guy can say. He tries everything to just smooth it over and be like, look, man, I didn't mean anything. I was just, just trying to be friendly. And he just won't let it go. It's like, he was offended by the fact that this guy was just trying to be nice to him. And obviously it was because he saw the play in his car and he's going to be, but it was like, you've threatened this guy, or you've put a threat into him to where he probably wouldn't have said, to quote From Dusk Till Dawn, he wouldn't have said shit if he had a mouthful of it, right? But he just won't let it go.
And then like he looks at people like cattle. That's why he kills them like cattle.
Yeah.
They just stand there. If you stand there and let somebody put something up to your head, he's gonna kill you because you're too stupid to not do it. It's like, and that's the way he looks at you. It's like, you're just gonna stand there like a slackjaw. It's like, have you seen Sweet Home yet?
Sweet Home what?
No, it's Sweet Home. It's like it's a Japanese show that's on Netflix. No. I don't know if they got it from there or was it a Netflix original, but I think it's a Netflix original. But basically, it's based on a game. It's kind of a lot of people think that it inspired Resident Evil.
Okay.
And like, there's monsters that have hit this town. And anyway, one of the main guys in it, he's kind of like this wimpy guy, and he when he's back in grade school, one of the things you find out is there's this guy that's trying to decide something with a machine, and he comes over and is trying to be friendly, and he's like, here, you want some dollar? And he's thinking in his mind he's being friendly to him and helping him, but like, what happens is like somebody's playing soccer ball and he falls down, and then or the soccer ball's kicked over, and the guy that he's trying to help, he falls down, and all he does is try to offer him his hand up, and at that moment he decides to ruin his life because how dare somebody like you even think that you could help me because you're a piece of crap. I mean, it's just, people think differently. Like, you think you're being kind, your kindness can be turned against you real fast. It's better not to deal with some people because they will use that to destroy you. You think you're being nice, but they don't like it.
I was going to say, and it's less I'm going to say about No Country, but for me, one of the, it's not frightening, but it's not disgusting. It's not eerie. It's unsettling. One of the most unsettling moments in the movie is when he's fighting with the one cop in the police station, when he's choking him to death with handcuffs, and you've got all the black skid marks from the shoes from when they've been wrestling on the ground, and you just got all these black skid marks on the ground, where it's like you can just see this dramatic fight for someone's life. And just in those marks right there, which is masterful, like Coen Brothers storytelling, but it's like that. But anyway, so getting back to the whole thing, like, Suga is almost like a comic book villain in a sense.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, you know enough about him to know everything, which is he's unhinged in a way that is beyond a serial killer or anything else, but you don't know what makes him what he is. You just know that he exists, and you want to call him like the personification of evil, but there's really nothing evil about him. Like, he does bad things, but like I say, he doesn't do it because he enjoys it. He's like, someone pays him for it, and that's again part of his justification for doing it, is because, I get paid for it. But again, he doesn't take any happiness or pleasure from it that you know of. It's just a job. And so, like, he doesn't go out to do this. So, if, for example, if no one ever paid him, he would never do these things.
What about, and tying into that, going back, Bullseye, man. I mean, I guess he'd go around killing people, but what's the fun? And, like, he's at a certain level, so, of course, it's better to be on a payroll, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at least the comic version.
No.
Yeah.
And I could be mistaken, but I think this is how it goes, and as far as the comic book goes, is so Bullseye is a great character. I love Bullseye. When Bullseye had that brain tumor, and he was seeing everybody as Daredevil, and he was going around killing everybody, and the cop wanted to kill him, and Daredevil was like, no. It's like, what's going on right now is not his fault. Other people that he's killed, those are his fault. But this right now, he has no control over that, and so we can't judge him and blame him for what he's going through right now. And the cop was like, yeah, but he's a killer. So knowing that, whether he's responsible for these murders or not, like whether he's in control of his actions or not, what he's capable of. And Daredevil gets Bullseye and subdues him, gets him to the hospital, and he has the surgery. And the cop says, basically, he's like, you think you did a great thing here, but he's going to go and he's going to kill again, and the next person he kills is going to be your fault. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, the next person he kills is Elektra.
Yeah. Well, and you remember and he's got to live with that. Yeah. Remember that scene where he's in the hospital bed where he dropped him, and he's all with the bandages, and he's got the gun to his head.
Yeah.
That was great. I mean, he got pushed to a dark place, man.
And Bullseye's got the adamantium spine. Mm-hmm. Not that it really means anything, but I mean, he's got an adamantium spine.
That helps. You. You can't break your back. I mean,
like Bane can hit him all day long. He's like yawn. And I know people didn't like the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. I know you didn't like it. And the Daredevil Netflix series is fantastic.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
Nothing but Colin Farrell's Bullseye
wasn't that bad.
I love his Bullseye.
I like the peanut thing.
Yeah.
Like
and when the stewardess comes over, she's like, "Can I get you anything?" He goes, "More peanuts, please." That's beautiful.
I think a really beautiful moment in that movie was when they're at the funeral and Elektra in the rain. Oh, yeah. She puts the umbrella up. And he doesn't see the. I thought that was kind of beautiful.
I love that, how she purposely not going to actually see me anymore, and of course him in the sensory deprivation tank, that made sense to me and everything. But
and you like Ben Affleck anyway, so
yeah. But anyway, the bullseye in that movie, I think he's fantastic, and I love the way Colin Farrell portrayed. Now, is he the comic book Bullseye? No, not exactly. No. But Bullseye is you're talking about something that's slightly unhinged. I mean, he's the guy that does take pride in killing people, but more to it is just that I take pride in my accuracy, and I use my accuracy to kill people. So I'm not really taking pride in their death. It's more of hey, I hit him, it's and you couldn't stop me. It's I threw it, and I think we talked about this, isn't it? It's a Captain America issue, Ron Lim, Captain America, where they talk about, I think we've talked about this before here.
Streets of Poison?
And where he's in the prison, and I'm pretty sure we've talked about this here. So Bullseye is in prison. They talk about how deadly he is. He's in this cell, almost like a Hannibal Lecter cell, and it's got this big plexiglass window. He's wearing a gown that has no. It doesn't have a like an elastic collar or hem. Nothing that he can use to tie. Nothing used as a weapon. There's a metal or stone bowl that is bolted to the floor, It's right underneath this hole in the wall, this like sluice of where like this like mush comes through because he can't have anything solid. And like
because he can turn into a weapon,
right? Like he doesn't have like a bed. Like it's like that's it. Like that's how deadly he is that he can't have anything. And so this guard's walking by, and Bullseye just starts slamming his face into the wall, and he just starts slamming his face into the wall until he knocks himself out. And the guard's like, "What the hell?" And he opens the thing, and he goes in there, and Bullseye like smacked his face to it and knocked one of his teeth loose. And spits in the guy's eye, and the next thing you know, he's out. Yeah, it was like that guy is that damn deadly.
But to speak to his motivation, besides showing off and just being out there doing his thing, what is his ultimate? There's no ultimate goal. There's no finish to killing people as long as there's people around. So it's like
he's completely ego driven, just to be like, I'm the best,
at what I
marksman around. And the thing is, I don't know if he's only good with like handheld items. Because I've never seen him use a gun, so because I think he'd be one of those guys that's beneath me.
Yeah,
he
wants to use anything besides a gun.
Like he'd be the guy that would take the bullets out the gun and throw them at you.
yeah, and or the gun itself. Yeah. It'd be the one time when the gun itself would be more deadly than the gun, like because he'd hit you.
that'd be the one time where when the person runs out of bullets, he'd throw the gun, right? Where like he would actually be in danger. Yeah. Yeah, so the Bullseye is it's cool. Like, his motivation is, like I said, just purely egotistical, just to show off, like, this is what I can do. So let's take someone like Green Goblin. Like, his whole thing is like, I hate Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, that's it.
But like before he knew,
like, it takes a lot to put on the green outfit and like the whole shtick and stuff before he met Spider-Man. Like,
right, so like he was like slightly insane, but he was doing. Wasn't he attacking his own company?
Yeah, it was something weird like that.
Right, and then when he finds out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, it's another one of those ego things. Like, it's like, how did I not know this whole time? It's like, oh wait, you're not really friends with Harry. You've just been using him
to get to me,
right? To get to me, even though you didn't know that I was like Green Guy's. Like none of his thought process makes any sense. But of course, the Green Goblin is insane,
he's crazy, yeah.
But then now we get to like this part here where I guess that's the whole thing is like it's just his insanity. That's what runs him. Is like the Goblin formula drove him mad, and then that's pretty much it. Like he's just insane. Like nothing he does makes any sense. He's the Joker with a sky sled.
Let's see. Yeah, it's tough, man. Like we didn't really have time to prepare. We just kind of thought of these off the top of our head, but kind of let's see another bad guy that seems like a lot of the motivations for these guys is either money, world domination. I mean, the guys that want to dominate the world, they're pretty obvious, and then or it's just their adversary. Like they've been beaten and they just can't let it go. They just got to keep coming back until they know that they're the best, but they keep getting beat.
Like Sabretooth and Wolverine. I mean, I know there's a little bit more to it, but like he doesn't really have like Sabretooth likes to kill people. He thinks it's fun. Like life really doesn't have any meaning to him.
So he just messes with Wolverine all the time,
right? And then he goes after Wolverine and like, hey, I think it's fun to screw with you.
What else am I gonna do?
Right.
Yeah.
And because Wolverine takes it so seriously, obviously he would, but because it does bother him, and is like, so you give me exactly what I want. You give me the reaction I want. So of course I'm gonna keep doing it.
That's the one cool thing, because like you look at some of these people that live so long, Wolverine and Sabretooth, depending on what type of origin you go with or whatever holds true right now, if they haven't retconned it, is like they're contemporaries. So most of the time when you see somebody, they're going through the path alone. Mm-hmm. You've had a pain in your ass your whole life, and they just keep following you, and it won't go. It's because like you eventually like, well, at least I'll outlive this guy. No, he's right there with you. That sucks.
And then and what's worse about it is when someone talks to Wolverine about Sabretooth, and it's like, what's this? It's like, we're a long time ago, we used to be friends. But like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like a brother to me. Yeah. I didn't remember that till like 5 years ago, but
yeah, it's like they keep mind swiping me. It's like I don't even know what's real. Yeah, it's
like I don't know what the Red Skull's motivation is.
Like, well, supposedly he was down with the Aryan supremacy. Like he kind of wanted to he was after the cosmic cube. He wanted to control everything. I think
it seemed like that's what he wanted, but then I'm like okay, but then it seemed like his motivations kind of changed to like something else. Like it was like it became more of like he wanted power, but not power to do anything specific. Just going back to what we were talking about before. I just want power because I want power, but not because he was still trying to go forward with his whole plan. So I don't know. And maybe now it's just the point. Just like I just want to screw with Steve Rogers because that's what's fun to me. Like this guy that holds up this ideal of what like a person should be, a society, a world should be, and it's like, and that just sickens me. It's
a constant reminder of his loss too, of what they were so close to coming to, and they lost everything.
Yeah.
The Ubermensch.
But if you look at at villains like let's say you're just your typical villain, because we were talking about like the not Sinister Six, but like like Rhino and people like that. Like Rhino is strictly for money. Like Rhino is just, I'm just in it for the money. And
what's he gonna do? It's fused to his body.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go to 7-Eleven. It's like.
Yeah, he will always. I mean, no matter what, he will always be the Rhino.
Yeah.
I wonder, can Sandman change his shape? Like, can he like change his physical appearance?
I've wondered about that too. I don't see why he couldn't, because he can change himself to like different shapes like his. So why couldn't he change his facial features if he concentrated enough? I think he should be able to.
I guess it's one of those things where like he's the kind of guy that doesn't think about that, or either that, or it takes so much concentration to do that.
And he's not the brightest guy in the world,
right.
So probably couldn't. Like if somebody else had the same powers, they might be able to.
But yeah, it's one thing I like about Sandman. I like the fact that he's a conflicted villain that's not really a villain. Like he doesn't, like before he did things for money, but he's like, yeah, I don't really do things for money now. And it's like, why am I doing these things? Like, well, sometimes I try to be a hero. Sometimes I try to be, a good guy for hire. Sometimes I get pulled back into the criminal lifestyle, And I think sometimes when he's been pulled back, he's been like blackmailed. Like he didn't want to go back, but he had to. But so I like him as his motivation is kind of clear. Is like, I want to do the right thing now if I can, or if I'm allowed to. But if not, then I'm not above just doing a small petty crime. But then you've got other people like some of the members like Mysterio, like being a part of the Sinister Six. So let's take the Sinister Six as a whole. Vulture, like what is Vulture's thing like?
Well, his is only money. His is pure.
Right.
He's a thief. Right. Yeah.
Mysterio, he's a thief.
Money.
Craven, I think Craven's not
the hunt. He's all about the hunt.
Right, the hunt. So at least he is a little bit more to him than some of the others.
And he got what he wanted.
Yeah.
So that's why he's not around anymore. Yeah.
So Vulture, Mysterio, those are both thieves. We already talked about Green Goblin being crazy. Electro, again, thief.
Yeah.
Just a thief. But they all get together to form this group, and like Doc Ock, who we always talk about, just ego driven. Like they get together to form this group, be like, we're gonna stop Spider-Man because he stops us from being thieves. Like he stops us from our petty crimes. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like really, what are you doing? Like
they would like if an individual policeman arrested them, would they spend the rest of their lives dedicated to destroying that policeman?
Right.
It's like just because you put the spider suit on, we've got to beat you.
And I'm just gonna let you know right now, to all of you like petty thieves out there, you whirlwinds, like whoever these guys are, there are like banks and jewelry stores in other cities and states other than New York and Manhattan that don't have superheroes in them. Just put it out there.
Yeah, and I've always wondered about that. It's like it's not just enough to steal something, but it's to steal something and get away with it from the right people. It's all about clout.
Right.
That's why you go to the bar with no name and you drink yourself silly because you fail over and over again. It's kind of like New York itself. Just because a bunch of people jam themselves in one place on the earth and refuse to go anywhere else doesn't make it that great. What is it? It's like the East is filled with a bunch of crazies, and the West Coast, like, they can't go any further. because the ocean stops it. It's like they just all end up there. It's like, oh, there's nowhere else to go.
You know, I'd love to see. Maybe this was handled in like the Sinister Foes book, but like you know, somebody goes to, maybe it's like Speed Demon. He goes to rob a bank, and they're like, sure, we don't have any money. It's like, what? It's like, yeah, like the Beetle robbed us last week, because there's only so many banks in New York, and you got a lot more criminals than there are banks. But like, yeah, we don't have any money. We haven't gotten our money back, like, you know, from the government yet, because we were just robbed. Or like two of them like hitting the place at the same time, not realizing they're about to hit at the same time.
If you think about it, man, you're right. Like, because the first Sinister Six was annual #1, right? Because they all joined together to beat him. It was annual 1 or 2, right?
Okay.
And then like but how about instead of you focus on beating him, why didn't y'all hit 6 banks at one time? Because there's no way he could have stopped all of you.
Right.
And then like you could bail the other dude out.
See, what I would have done was I would have joined the Sinister Six, and then when they went to attack Spider-Man, and be like, "Hey, like, where's the last guy?" And I would have been off robbing the bank while you guys are fighting Spider-Man, like it's a bunch of dumbasses. Like, thank you for the distraction.
It's true though, man. Let's say like you just got lucky, and like you missed a day where Spider-Man had the cold or something, and you robbed the bank and you finally got your money. And let's say you got more money than you probably could even do anything with for a long time. Would you stop? Like is it the getting dressed up and doing the thing, or is it the money?
Right.
Because that's your motivation. That's why you're doing it. But then at the same time, it gives you power and makes you feel like a hot shot, and you get the fame. I mean, so it's like,
yeah, so the adrenaline rush.
So could you wouldn't stop? They'd still do it.
Yeah.
And that's what ends up stopping them, because like they can't give up their whatever grandiose plans or whatever. I
think what I would do is when I robbed the bank, like I'd go back the next day and open up an account, be like, yes, I'd like to put this money in the bank.
It is FDIC insured, right?
Right. Because, you know, that's the whole thing. They always talk about in movies. They're like, you know, well, you know, there's like, we can always track the serial numbers. Like, no, you can't. Like, not every bill that goes into a bank. Like, once it goes to like the Federal Reserve, they'll do that with the big bills, but they're not going to track this. They're not going to like write down the serial number of every 20 that comes into a bank. So,
was it a simple plan? Was it a very simple plan? The Sam Raimi movie?
Oh yeah.
Like they have to burn all the money at the end, because like I never. I was like, do they? I don't know. I think you could probably go okay somewhere.
Yeah. But I'm like, okay, so like even if the bank manager was like, this is all the money that was stolen from us yesterday, right? But can you prove it? Can you prove that it was the money that was stolen from you yesterday? No, you can't. So so put it in the bank, and I'll see you guys in about a month.
That's funny, man. My name is HP Pennypacker. What?
Yeah, like none of the Sinister Six keep their money in a bank. It's like, because those things get robbed. But you're right. Like, what would you do? Like, you get the money, and then, because that's one thing I've never understood. Not even about the comic books, but like about just, I can't stand thieves. I can't stand thieves. Just like the idea that you think that you're entitled to something, you can have it, and that you don't have to pay for it. It's okay for you to take it, or even take it for somebody else. It's like, well, you guys are the dumbasses that pay for shit, you know, when you could just take it. But like, I don't like understand that mindset. But what I really don't understand are people that I'll steal this, but I'll pay for this. Like, they will buy a brand new phone, and of course you have to pay, like, you know, like your cell phone bill. But then I'll steal like a DVD. Like, what? Well, that doesn't make any sense.
But in a sick, perverse way, it makes sense to them, because their job is to be a thief. So if they've done their job well, they've earned the money by taking it. See, I earned this shit, see? It's like, and I know that's sick, but that's the way they think. They think that that was the job. That the job was to get the money. They got the money, so they did their job.
Right. So I can see robbing a bank to pay my mortgage, because I can't just steal a house, right?
Yeah.
I mean, technically, yes, I could move and be like, you know, I claim this house in the name of me, you know, manifest destiny, it's mine now, bitches, you know. But no, you can't just steal a house. Right, I can steal a lot of other stuff. I can steal a car, but I just can't steal that. So I can see robbing a bank to pay the mortgage, right? But yeah, the people that like will like steal some things, but then will like pay for other stuff. Like I'm like, I don't understand. Like, this is the stuff you should be stealing, and this is the stuff you should be paying for, or even more, just pay for it all like everybody else does. Like that, I don't how that gets twisted. And like I can see the villains being the same way. Like, yeah, I robbed the bank, and then I'm gonna pay these things. I'm gonna buy this stuff right here. Like they'll go and they'll buy like a brand new outfit. That's the kind of shit you should be stealing. Like, again, I'm not advocating thieves, but I'm just saying if that's what you're gonna do, steal that stuff. And like, it doesn't make any sense.
Like, thinking about Thanos, like after Infinity Gauntlet, whoa. What you doing, man? It's like you've done it. You did the thing and like it didn't work out. Like why even bother anymore? It's like
he got Infinity Gauntlet. Like I did the job and like, I'm done. Like so
yeah. It's like so what you doing now is you're just kind of going through the motions now. Like, sure, I'm alive, but why?
You're talking about the comic book.
Yeah. It's like he what past that point he's been in a bunch of stories after that, but they're never really been as effective. He's kind of the build up to him was so great, and then like it's just kind of like where do you go from there? And like I love Thanos, don't get me wrong, and there's been good stories with him. Like they did the Thanos quest, but that didn't even really technically happen now because it was a different reality. So it's
but you're right. Like he peaked himself.
Yeah,
and like nothing he can do after that is as great because I mean that wasn't just like something that involved like the Earth or like the galaxy. That was like the universe.
It was universes. I mean, it's all of reality. He blinked it out. I mean, basically. I mean, what do you do after that? There's nothing to do. And here's the great thing about that. It's like just like the movie. Oh, I'll just settle down in this world and farm. Yeah, it's like I'm good.
Thanos is not that kind of guy, but it would be interesting if, like, when they're in a fight and he's like, hey, remember that time I turned you to a bunch of Legos? Remember that? That was funny. Oh, Wolverine, remember when I made your bones rubber and you were like, oh, that was pretty awesome, wasn't it? Like, no matter what you do to me, right? I still had that time to remember when I did this to you and, like, I turned you into glass and you got shattered.
Can any other villain say that? He dominated. He bitched out everybody, right? I mean, like everybody.
Remember our girlfriend cut your head off? And was like kicking around like a soccer ball, and like, like even if you beat him, you can't beat him to any degree that is going to be greater than what he did to you when he had the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, because you couldn't. Because there's really nothing you could do. Right. It's interesting now because like the Infinity Stones have souls now, so they pick their individual owner. So I don't know if anybody would ever try to collect them again because it's already been done. So there's no reason to do it. So it's interesting.
And I think the worst part about like out of everything that happened is for him to like Silver Surfer is like, hey, remember that time that I was completely unaware that you were going to try to snatch the gauntlet off my hand and you missed? Remember that? Like, I didn't even know you were coming, right? Because I was like half my power, right? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to make it fair. So I'm just going to like at half of like infinite power. So, I mean, it's like giving you a portion of my like nigh cosmic power. Just a portion of my infinite cosmic power. So remember I was at half of that and then you knew you were coming and you still missed.
You still didn't have it.
Yeah.
Well, like speaking of, we know the motivation for Galactus, like hunger. Yeah, and it's like, but he's not really a villain though.
No,
he's not a villain, so I guess you can't count him as a villain.
Yeah, he's just on a higher like scale like of the food chain than you are. That's it. Yeah. So yeah, like you say, he's not a villain.
Yeah, I guess all those upper echelon entities like Living Tribunal. And all those types, they're just not really even, they're not evil per se. They just, just above everything else.
One guy I don't understand, High Evolutionary.
Yeah, he's weird.
Because he's just a human, but he's like, no. The evolutionary scale, I got to make it better. So I'm gonna create these like half man animal things because they're gonna be better than people. Because and they're gonna evolve and like slow roll there, Darwin, right? Because like none of your shit's working out yet. Like none of it's working out yet. And even you, Mr. High Evolutionary, you're just like a guy that decided you were going to start doing all this stuff. Like where where's your personal evolution? And like he doesn't make any sense to me. Like he's just a guy that like took 2 years of science in college and was like, I know enough. I don't need a degree, and then left, and then is like, it's like, and he's the kind of guy that would tell everybody, he's like, my professor was so stupid. You're like, I knew more than they did, and it's like, so that's why I started carrying around like a little half human, half like people. He didn't create the Animen, did he?
Did he? Maybe he did. You might be right about that.
Because this was like they got the frog guy with like the 1970s headphones on or whatever.
No, that wasn't him. That was wasn't another guy that was like that. Here, I'll have to look that up.
So it means you have two like fake ass high evolutionary dudes, like, but he's a horrible character. Like he's just a bad character.
Yeah, I never really liked any of that. I didn't get into that character at all.
And Bova is really sweet, and apparently she did a really good job of taking care of the Maximoff twins. I'm sorry, but a big ass like cow maid, that would just creep me out, man.
You're right. It was the high evolutionary. You're right. Yeah.
Create the Animen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't remember because it feels like they came from somebody else, because he's also created other like weird ass creatures and like. He works at Wendigo Mountain, but he's got like some weird affinity for the Savage Land.
Yeah. Which isn't involved at all. So
right.
It's like, what are you doing, guy? Well, even Apocalypse to a certain degree, because this whole thing is about like bringing out the best of people, like, or best of everything. And maybe he just thinks his mere presence there is what's doing that. I don't know. Like, but anyway.
Yeah, Apocalypse, if you really want to like bring out the best of people, you might want to, I don't know, maybe start a school.
Yeah.
Education is the way to go, I hear. I don't know.
What are you doing, guys? We're really dropping the ball here.
I mean, it's easy for you guys, been around for like thousands of years and everything.
Well, that's the thing is, these guys have been around for so long, and they're really bad at what they do because nothing's really helped too much. Seems like for every step forward, there's 3 steps back.
Well, that's because opposites attract,
Yeah.
It's not fiction. That is a natural fact.
I'm picturing like a animated cat start rapping all of a sudden. And Paul Abdul dancing around.
That's MC Scat Cat, man. A guy you never heard of before. But yeah, like High Evolutionary, I never understood his motivation. I will say this for the X-Men. X-Men villains always seem to have a great motivation, even though it's like it's a really big deal. Like,
well, you get Magneto. You get Magneto.
Yeah.
There's no. It absolutely makes sense.
And then Reverend
Stryker.
Right. I was almost at Colonel, but yeah, Reverend Stryker. I mean, like you get him. He's just a damn racist, right?
Yeah.
Just a racist televangelist. Well, I'm that's redundant. He's just a televangelist, right? You get like his motivation. Like even some of the other people that they fought, like, they're not like big deals. I mean, like not like along those lines. Like you get their motivation. You know exactly what it is they're about. Even like if like the Brood, like the Brood are very, very simple creatures. Like we're just space ants, really. That's really all they. Or no,
we're floating around on our space whales.
Yeah, like I guess you're more of like call them like space wasp maybe, because they take over, and so even them I can understand. But then you get to like some of like Avengers villains and like Graviton. Like, okay, what is it that you really want to do?
He is weird.
You've already done the greatest thing you could ever do in your whole life. Is that like you? Not only did you defeat the West Coast Avengers, but you threw a party. Right? At your like West Coast Hollywood Hills mansion. They had people there where you had Wonder Man like trapped on the bottom of the pool, like Pablo Escobar style. Like, I mean, there's nothing you can do that's greater than that, man. Like, you had a party and Wonder Man is trapped at the bottom of your pool. Like, that's it, man. Like,
drop the mic,
right?
And it literally,
like, I'm done here. So,
yeah, it's.
But yeah, like with people like that, again, like, is it just the money? Is it the power? As much as I don't like him, but Master Panda Bear, at least he had a motivation too.
Master Panda Bear.
Yeah. I mean, Master Pandemonium, he had motivation. It was like, hey, I made a bad deal and this guy like took 5 parts of my soul and somehow equals out to like my 5 my 5 limbs, but my limbs, and then I guess
demon
my
fingers
or whatever, and then I want him back. So I mean, even then, like, he's a bad guy, but he's not really a bad guy. I mean, he goes about things the wrong way, but his thing is like, hey, I made a mistake, I made a deal I shouldn't have, and now I'm trying to get my life back. I'm going about it the wrong way, but in this situation there's really no right way of getting like the pieces of my soul back, so even then I can understand his motivation, but like some of the other like Avengers villains, I don't really know like what their trip is.
Yeah, like they accept to defeat them,
Yeah.
It's like, you're powerful, so I want to beat you. They're the masters of evil.
Yeah.
Let's beat up on Jarvis. Asshole. Serving those superhumans their food. Who the hell do you think you are?
Yeah,
Making a living, you weak baby. What?
It's like I always want to beat up Mr. Belvedere, and you're the closest thing I could come to it.
Jeez, man. Yeah, it's interesting, man. Like all the at the end of the day, it's just kind of like it's just like anything. Why? And the thing is, like, from the bad guy's point of view, they're not such bad dudes.
Right.
Yeah, we're not that bad. What are you doing getting in our way? We just want to do what we want to do, man.
Like, okay, the Wrecking Crew. I know you love the Wrecking Crew.
I don't love them, but I think they're good.
I love how excited you guys just feel like, I don't love them. I don't love them.
Well, it's an exaggeration. It's an overstatement.
But again, what is their deal?
Magic crowbar to defeat Thor, created by Loki, and then he enchanted other mystical weapons. Like, it's just so weird, man. I think they look cool. I think their looks cool, but their origins is very weird.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I started having like Bugs Bunny vibes. It's like Wrecking Ball and Magic Crowbar, Wrecking Ball and Magic Crowbar,
Bulldozer.
But you know what they are? They're basically like high school bullies. Like,
yeah,
they don't want money. The only thing I want to do is just go around, just like
wreck things,
pushing people
shit.
around and
wreck
stuff.
Shit.
Is like stop destroying your bar. Stop destroying your bar. Like,
there are people that just want to see the world burn.
Yeah.
Turk. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean it really is Absorbing Man. Absorbing Man is a guy that just wants to live a kind of a quiet life. Crusher Crew's done some. He knows he's a wanted criminal, and he's done some bad things, and he's like, yeah, I've robbed some people, I've still done some things, whatever. But like he's the kind of guy that will rob a bank just to maintain living
his little
in his
shitty apartment
right.
in New York, like with Titania.
Right. But he also knows that like I can't work a regular job.
Yeah.
Like I don't have any skills. Like this is the only thing I can do to maintain a living, and this is as good as my life is gonna get. Is like this shitty apartment, sitting there watching like a TV that's like 20 years old. It's a Sony or a magnet box or something like that.
We talked about like Sandman and Crusher. Like their designs are simple. They just look like something out of like a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Yeah.
They're cool.
I will say this. I feel sorry for Sandman, because like who would have thought that day I was going to get involved in some kind of weird accident that was going to basically put me in the same clothes for the rest of my life. And I just so happened to be wearing like green pants
and brown,
and like a green and brown shirt. But like damn, like what was I thinking? It's like, man, the 70s are a hell of a drug. Like it's a good thing he wasn't wearing like a disco outfit. That really sucked, man.
And then there's Hydro Man.
Yeah.
I guess his whole thing's being rapey.
How is he even a threat, man? Like Hydro Man, like what is?
He can drown you, I guess. Like if you can't swim very good.
like that's it. Like I'm Hydro Man. I can drown you, and I mean, at least Sandman has something more going for him. Like Hydro Man can't even make like his fist look like a brick wall or anything like that. It's like it all just looks like water. Like.
I mean, if enough water hits you, like it can be heavy. Like it's like, what's heavier, 100 pounds of water or 100 pounds of weights?
Yeah.
It's still 100 pounds. So it's like, I guess you could, if the volume of it hits you, like it could hurt. I mean, like a fire hose, if it hits you with enough force, it's kind of like that. But yeah, overall, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
In order for Hydro Man to be a credible villain, they really would have to amp him up, like his evil nature. Because right now, whenever you see him do anything, he's like, big wall of water, and I'm going to spray you like a fire hydrant. But really what you need is him to be there and like, oh, I'm going to send these little tendrils of water like down your nose and into your lungs.
You're drowning, yeah.
And it's like, that's the kind of thing that Hydro Man would make a damn good assassin.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, after he drowned you, he would just pull that water back out.
Yeah.
And be like,
how would you know? It's kind of like getting killed with an icicle. Like it melts away. And I thought about that with Iceman. Could take out Hydro Man pretty easily. But then like, what if he froze his hand or something? You know, like then it'd seem more formidable. You know, it's like if it was like, it hit you with the ice hand.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, here's the bad thing with Hydro Man. Like, to defeat him, all you have to do is freeze him and then put him in the freezer. Like, that's it. Like, he's done. Like,
he's frozen.
Yeah, he can't. That's it.
Yeah, Iceman would not be a fight. He's like, he's like, It's like,
and if you
but what if Sandman and Hydro Man formed a creature together and made a mud creature? that did happen.
I was gonna say, I was thinking it did happen.
It was horrible.
It was horrible. But you know what you could do? You could take like Hydro Man, like freeze him, break him up into smaller pieces, and then like send one to like everybody and have them just put that in their freezer, just put them in the back of your freezer and leave it there. Like he could never come back together.
Yeah, there was they did a thing in the Mortal Hulk here recently because he couldn't die, where they cut up his body and they put it in different vessels. Like you could do that.
Wasn't that like issue 2 or 3 or something?
It was like 8.
Okay,
and then like imagine you did that with Hydro Man, you just have little different bottles of water.
Yeah.
And it just separated them up, and then we can form that. That's pretty funny.
That'd be funny because you you'd see like a watery eye in one bottle and then like a mouth in the other, and be like,
it's somebody pours all the water, goes like, wait a minute, I'm missing something here. He's like, what? Where is it? Where is it? Sorry that we dropped that one. No.
Put a little food coloring in there, just to screw with him. You know what I would do? I would take him and I'd put him in like different bottles, and then I'd put like some oil in there.
Oh,
like, you know it doesn't mix.
Oil Man fights Hydro Man. Oh, that's messed up.
But I mean, like Hydro Man's is that crappy. But like, so you can make him a really credible threat, and will be like bizarre as that. Like if you did an autopsy on the person, be like, yeah, this person drowned, and I can tell because like the damage to the lungs, it's clear that they drowned, but
there's no water.
But there's no water in there, and it's like even if somehow somebody had like shoved ice cubes like down their throat, there would still be water. Like the damage is significant with drowning and like like the hemorrhaging and the blood vessels and all that kind of stuff. But there's no water, and it's like he would be a badass assassin.
I mean, think about it, man. All you have to do is stick his hand up to your face.
Yep.
Cover up your nostrils and your where you breathe. That's all he'd have to do, and that'd be it.
Oh man, that would be interesting. Is to like if he somehow like if you were in a hospital and like he like put himself into like an IV bag, so then like he is then basically put into your body. He's like goes into your blood, into your body, and then so like he would kind of almost be in control of you in a sense.
Well, I was thinking about that. Like I was thinking about putting in the blood. What does I guess if you water down blood, that's not good, right? That could hurt you. I mean, that would definitely hurt you.
But because I don't think drinking him, like ingesting him, would be enough. He'd have to get into. That's what I was thinking of, like it was an IV. But if you put him in there to where not all of them obviously, but enough of him to where he could be in your system,
or maybe even control multiple people. If he was in like like you could have like a little group. That's kind of interesting.
Because he can't control water, he can just control his own form, which is water. So he'd have to put. Hey, is he salt water or is he just?
Well, that's the other thing I was thinking. I was like, for some reason, I was going to like Namor. Like Namor needs. I don't know if he needs it, but like when he goes in the water, he's saltwater guy. So what if you just encompassed him with like fresh water all the time, and you couldn't get to the salt water? Would that affect him over time? I don't know, because he seems like he can live outside on the land fairly easily. So I don't know
for a while.
Yeah. So like, what if? Because if you covered his body and like you fought off the salt water and you were just regular water, maybe you could hurt him.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say, his old suit from the 70s where he had that blue vest thing that he wore.
Oh, that thing, man.
Well, that vest actually had it was specially made that had like basically like water pockets in it, and that would hydrate his body.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But when you tell I was obsessed about Namor, it made me think of the Amazing Spider-Man episode, the 10 Little Superheroes with the chameleon.
I don't know if I saw that one.
You've never seen an episode of Amazing Spider-Man or Spider-Man's Amazing Friends?
I might not have.
You've never seen that one?
I don't think so.
It's so cheesy and awesome. It was one of my favorite episodes because it had Captain America in it and Namor and Doctor Strange. But the chameleon summons all these people to this big mansion, and it's basically like 10 little ninjas. But it's like a superhero version of that, and he's got the stupidest plan in the world, but he summons them all there, and then as he like takes them all out, and he says little things like, like 7 little superheroes, fighting for their life, like one does something and now there's only 6. He actually makes it rhyme.
He turned into the Riddler all of a sudden.
Yeah, it was like I sounded like Lil Wayne just now, like nothing rhymed. It was just stupid. But now he actually makes it rhyme. But then as he like will trap one, he'll take their place and lure the other ones into a trap. It's really bad, but it was during time when like cartoons were on, and like here's Spider-Man and like Captain America's in this episode and Doctor Strange and Submariner, and then like what's her name, Kazar's that girlfriend,
Shauna.
Yeah, Shauna the She-Devil's in it, and she's like in a regular in her Shauna outfit too. They didn't like put a bunch of extra clothes on her and stuff. So that was kind of cool, but. They're at the mansion, and Namor he's being his typical arrogant self, and he's like this pool is like a fresh dip will help me like feel good, and he jumps into the pool and he's like, it's alcohol, I'm trying out. And there's like a little platform in the center of the pool, and he ends up like crawling over it, like swimming and crawling up on that, and so now he's stuck because. Like it drained all of his energy. The alcohol did, like all the water from him, and he's stuck on the platform. No way he could get off. It'd be a swim back across that.
If he like got into a hot tub full of beer, he'd get drunk. Like.
And so it's not good at all. And for some reason, I know they give a reason like Aunt May was going somewhere, and so they had to take Ms. Lion with them. But Ms. Lion just happens to be there, and of course she like foils it. But yeah, it was cool. Like it's like Doctor Strange is in it, and that's what makes it kind of awesome. But like it's really pretty bad.
It was just cool to see him on TV at the time.
It's like the X-Men episode, or the 2 X-Men episodes, which are both really bad. But I was getting to see the X-Men.
You get to see Juggernaut,
and then Juggernaut throws Wolverine into the fence. It's a fence. It's a brick wall fence, and his claws get stuck in him, and he can't get them back out. Like, come on.
That is funny.
It's no Pride of the X-Men, that's for sure.
And there again, Juggernaut's motivation after a certain point, I mean, he doesn't need it. I mean, like you're brute force. I mean, you pretty much could take anything you wanted to. There's really nothing.
I think Juggernaut has a kind of interesting motivation to me because he's done some very things. He's kind of been a hero, then he's been a villain, then he's kind of been a villain hero, and then he's just kind of thing. It's like for the longest time it was like I hate Charles because of our dad, but then it's like, well, but your dad didn't like Charles either,
and you were a jerk to him his whole life. It's not like he did anything to you.
Yeah. So, but then once he got power and stuff, and now he's gotten over his whole thing with Charles, like Juggernaut's motivation is he's bored. Like he can't be hurt. I don't need to eat. So like the things that normal people would take, some kind of like solace in or whatever is like, well, at least, I can enjoy good food. But no, because I don't need to eat. Like I can eat it in a sense, but I don't need to. So, and I wonder like for someone like that doesn't need to eat. I mean, if you eat food, you're still going to shit, right?
I don't want to think about it.
I'm asking him like your body still works the same way, even though you don't need to. It's like Wonder Man doesn't need to eat at all, and I think if he eats food, it just converts it into ionic energy or some kind of energy. So Juggernaut's like, okay, like I don't need to eat, I don't need to sleep, I could watch TV and that kind of stuff, but even then, like after a while, it's gonna get. But like he just gets bored, like, and he's like, okay, I got to find something to do to entertain myself, and it's not like I could do regular stuff that other people do. And it's like, let's go for a hike, or I can climb this mountain. Like I mean, like him climbing like Mount Everest is nothing. It's nothing to him. Like so like
he could be like Kane on Kung Fu, just walk around getting adventures. Right. Like, that's pretty much all he does.
Except for the fact that like all he do is he would just like flick somebody with his finger and be like, okay, well that fight's over.
Yeah. I forgot about that in our She-Hulk episode. He got to be with She-Hulk.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. But okay. Because I can't see her doing that. I can't see her even if he's been like redeemed or whatever, he's still Juggernaut the villain, and for any of his past crimes, he should still be serving like a life sentence, which for Juggernaut is a long ass time.
Yeah.
For her, Jennifer Walters, the lawyer, to then sleep with him, like, nah.
She fell in love with her client. How dare she?
Like, okay. Like, did you not learn anything from that Star Fox episode? And come to think of it, like after all is said and done, who's more evil, like Thanos or like Star Fox Weinstein over here? I mean, really?
Yeah, Eros. That was messed up, man. That was very rapey.
So I'm just saying. I mean,
But the thing is, from his point of view, he did kind of see it the way. I mean, he wasn't doing anything that he didn't do all the time anyway. He can't really help it. Pheromone. It doesn't make it right, but he knew that he was influencing him.
But I mean, he can control his pheromones.
Yeah, he did it on purpose. So
yeah,
it's not right. There's an episode of I don't know if you ever watched Orville, but there was a character.
I love Orville.
You remember the character that he was releasing the pheromones and everybody was getting kind of like attracted. That's why she cheated on him and all that stuff. That was pretty cool. Supposedly he's come back season 3 on Hulu.
Yep.
I'm kind of looking forward to it. I like the Krill. I think they're actually pretty cool.
Whenever they can start filming again.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but yeah.
Norm Macdonald. He's
but yeah, I mean the like I said, I can understand like Juggernaut's like his whole motivation now, which is that I'm bored, and the thing is, as long as I've got the power of Sidorak, then I'm gonna be some form of like of immortal and invulnerable. So it takes like the most extreme things to.
And as of right now, he's not under the control of Sidorak, so he doesn't have to do anything that he's telling him to either. So he's kind of his own, which kind of was anyway. But like that's the new thing from the new series. Supposedly, is like he's his own boss now.
I mean, it's not like Sidorak ever asked him to do anything.
Yeah, except to destroy stuff. I mean, he did want him to go out and cause chaos, but now he's kind of saying, "Well, I'll do what I want to do."
So I've never understood, like, once we know that Sidorak is this, god, demon, ancient being, or whatever it is, like, how is it that Doctor Strange can always call upon the Crimson Bands of Sidorak and be like, whoa.
You just bring him out of nowhere.
Like, right, it's like, you're borrowing my power, or, like, using it to do stuff. Like, I gave this guy my power. Like, I'm giving you shit, Doctor Strange. Like, what have you done for me lately? Like whenever you feel like, you're like, Crimson Bands of Sidorak. Like, God damn it, dude. Like, you wake me up in the middle of the night.
Well, that Ghost Rider guy, or
Zarathos?
No, the who's the name? I can't remember his name. Is Ghost Rider like from the Thanos Win storyline, where like he has the Crimson Bands of Sidorak, like that's his chains,
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he's like the space Ghost Rider.
Oh, Space Ghost Rider.
Yeah, so. Cosmic Ghost Rider. Sorry, that's it.
Not space, cosmic. It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
So, no, that's interesting. But yeah, so I think we didn't talk about a lot of villains, but for the most part, like.
What's your deal, man?
Yeah, unless you have like a serious villain like the X-Men do, but like so what's your motivation? I hate you, muties. It's like that's my motivation. Unless you have something like that, or like even a Mr. Sinister or an Apocalypse, who they've got their things going on. Like everyone else is just like I just do it because like ego, or I do it because like like how I don't really know how robbing banks work anymore. So like yeah, like villains, like what's your deal?
I'm here. Let's do this. Like let's be evil. Gentlemen's evil.
Yeah, like so yeah, villains not to be trusted. All right, so
Vile villainy.
if you guys out there that listen to this ever decide that you want to become a villain, give me some kind of a really good like motivation, something to, I don't know, make me like root for you or something, to be like, yeah, I can understand why this guy's doing what he's doing. As opposed, and again, like, understand how like robbing banks work, and like when you get the money, that was like the whole point of it, was to get the money. It was not to fight with like Spider-Man or anybody else, or so yeah. Maybe you can take some of that money and depending on who you are, like enroll in like one of the Taskmaster schools.
Yeah,
I can see like the Rhino like learning like doing like high like roundhouses and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of awesome.
He'd be pretty mad at like he learns instantly, and then it's like he's training these people for years. He's like, "Oh, I'm so old." It's like he's just draining me inside. It's kind of like the Nemesis kid. He can learn a move in instant, and like it took Karate Kid his whole life to learn how to do stuff that he did. It
would be awesome if Taskmaster like used his abilities to like if he went to school, and since he's got the photo reflexes, I don't have like a photographic memory to remember everything you're saying, but like when you're writing stuff down, my photo reflexes remember like what you wrote down.
Yeah.
So when I go to take a test, like I just
cheat,
right? Like I just use my ability just to copy the hand movements that you did to like, yep, that's the answer to this thing, that's the answer to that one, and the next thing you know, like he has like multiple like PhDs and stuff. Like I don't know any of that stuff. Like I passed all the tests, but I can't do any of that.
Dr. Taskmaster.
Dr. Taskmaster.
How long did it take you to graduate? 2 weeks.
See, that would be an awesome adversary for She-Hulk, is to get a villain that is also a lawyer.
Yeah, like where they go up against each other. One thing have they ever brought it up that have they ever complained that her super abilities would make her a super lawyer? Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's an unfair disadvantage when she walks into the courthouse as She-Hulk because it enhances her abilities, that like where it's like it would give you an unfair advantage in court of law.
Like because being like the Hulk would like maybe like increase like her memory size, or like or like she'd be able to think faster. Like that. For me, she'd just be damn distracting. Yeah,
well, that's it. Yeah, and that too. I mean that's part of it, is being somebody that people listen to and respect.
So I think that'd be awesome if she if she had a villain like adversary who was also a lawyer. So like whenever they fought, like he would be like like if she punched him, be like, hey, that like what you just did, like breaks like this many laws, or like now, like because you've done this, like I have a ability to like throw this this case out of court if I ever got caught or something like that, or then like when they do, like if he does get caught, like he's gonna be his own lawyer, and then she's gonna be trying to put him away,
the leader.
Yeah, and so
He's like, I read all these books overnight. I think I've got a grasp on this law thing now.
Yeah, and it's like, so, like, and that's the thing is, like, he's fighting her on twofold. Like I fight you when I commit a crime, and then I fight you in, like, the court of law. Like, that would be kind of awesome, because that would definitely throw her off her game. Like, I know what you did, but what can I actually prove that you did?
I have some She-Hulk issues, and it's been a long time since I looked at them, but, like, I want to say maybe she did go up against Leader at one time. I can't remember. It was something like that. But I have to look at it. It's like...
Does he still have the broccoli head, or is he back to being like, like the big oblong?
I think it's the... Yeah.
The oblong?
Long.
I like broccoli-headed Leader.
To me, it looked a little... weird. It looked like a sack turned upside down.
Was that a McFarlane thing, though?
Yeah, it was. Hey, what's going on, ballhead? What?
I'm the leader.
What, the Franks before the beans? Or is the beans before the Franks?
Oh, man. Oh, well, no, that was interesting. And so villains are pretty stupid, which I mean we
Yeah.
kind of already knew, but now we know extra that villains are pretty stupid.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Evil, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Say it again, Wallcrawler.
Evil, what's it good for?
Good God, y'all.
Oh, whoa.
No, man, it ain't you all, it's y'all.
Y'all.
Y'all, man, you sound like a karate movie. Anyway, my name is Turk182.
Wallcrawler One.
And I don't have any superpowers, but if I did, I think I'd have a very hard time choosing the path of righteousness. I'd probably be more like a cross between Sandman and Absorbing Man. Like, I'd want to be good, but then sometimes it'd just be way too easy to do like bad things. It's just fun to do bad things. I like doing bad things with my friends.
Well,
Like, smoke with cigarettes.
And that's what evil is. It's not because you can, it's because you can.
Yeah.
Why not?
You're right.
Who's going to stop me? Unless you're going to stop me, why not?
Yeah, it's like, I don't feel like obeying the speed limit today. Yeah, that would really piss you off. Like you talk about Quicksilver, like, you know, I'm faster than everybody and all this, but let's say that Quicksilver has got to go and pick up furniture for his new house. He can't carry that on his back.
Yeah.
So he's got to drive, which means that he has to follow the speed limit, which would just piss him off, man.
Yeah.
Especially if you put him, that'd be a way to piss him off, man, is like to like hook him up to like a virtual reality machine and then like make it, he's got to go pick up furniture and he's got to do it in like a moving van, which can't go any faster than like 60 miles an hour. And then you stick him in like bumper to bumper traffic.
Or one of those things they hook up with your car so your insurance doesn't go up because you can't go past a certain speed limit.
Oh man. That would be funny if I see now like he's in trouble and instead of putting like one of those like house arrest monitors on his thing, they put some on there, but like, all right, so we know that, you know, part of your mutant ability is that, or I guess your unlocked like evolutionary ability is that you know, you're really fast, so we're just going to limit you that you're not allowed to go over 75 miles an hour like in running. And so we're gonna put this device and it's gonna keep track of that.
So he's got like a little watch. It's like a Fitbit for him. It's like ah. Oh man, I almost had it. Dang.
Yeah, that would kind of suck. Like 3 months, and like every time you go over, we're gonna add an extra 3 months to your sentence.
Oh man, that'd be terrible.
That'd be torture. All right, so again, Turk182. This is the episode of In the Gutters, and next to me is
Wallcrawler One.
There you go. And
at first I thought it was next week, and I was like, wait a minute, what next week?
No. And
Next to me.
Yeah, this has been our episode about supervillains. And join us again. We're going to talk about something interesting. I don't know. Something comic book related. What are you waiting for, kid? I don't know. Something amazing, I guess. So, that's us.
The magic wasn't in the hubcap, Billy. It was in you the whole time.
So what was the hubcap for?
It was just a MacGuffin. It meant nothing.
Hey, wasn't there somebody that used to fly around on a hubcap? I know like Static had like a hubcap thing until he made a little foil thing he flew around on, but wasn't there somebody who used to fly around on a hubcap? Maybe it was like in the Wild Cards book, something like that, but I kind of remember somebody flying around like on a hubcap, like standing on it.
Maybe, yeah. Or something looked like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.